Alright everybody, I am back with another Oxanna deck. This one is a slight modification of my last one with a little bit more opening friendly infantry units and a little less crazy on the one-shot runaway other units. As you can see, I swapped out the Shade for a Banshee, so that way I have some anti-air as well as additional anti-ground. First thing that happened on this one is I just noticed they were opening Scarabs, which told me that this was probably going to be a fairly easy match because, let's face it, not many people play Scarabs correctly, and Scarabs are never an opening unit because they're so expensive, and I just beat a 40 cost unit with a 10 cost militant squad, and so now all I have to do is spam low cost units at them, and then boom, look at that, I just took out another one for 10. Unfortunately, they did come up with some wheels, but because the main point of my deck is War Factory, I do have some bikes here that are able to start doing a pretty good job. They made the mistake of moving the Scarabs, so by the time it got set up, my militants were able to take it out. Incoming bike spam to take out the wheels on the bottom, and then just have one unit on two different pads, or one pad of my own, one pad contested. I got the missile. They decided to shoot my militants with their bikes instead of waiting for the stealth tank to de-stealth. That's fine. Full win for me. The Scarabs were looking kind of scary, so I pulled my my bikes back a little bit to kind of make them dance around my militants, but this is the same militant squad that I made in the beginning, so, you know, they've lasted quite a while and gotten quite a lot of use out of it. Send my stealth tank after their harvester in order to hopefully get a little bit of extra TIB income. And then again, they chase me down with their Scarabs, which I'm not entirely sure why they would do that, but it's what they decided to do, because, you know, apparently they don't know how to use Scarabs properly. But I've got one unit on each pad. They're trying to go after a militant squad with bikes, and that's missile. And I just made some lasers just because I like to make something at the very end if I can, just to snub my opponent, because I'm kind of like that. Next match, HeartItUpSry. I have no idea what that's supposed to mean, but one thing you might have noticed is that especially on this match, if you move the harvester to go to a different TIB patch, then if they send a rush at your harvester, they usually go for the top one and try to figure out, oh hey, there's no harvester here, what the heck? And it gives your harvester a little bit more life. I scouted, saw that they had barracks, so I created a second militant squad, and then they decided to come out with bikes instead. So instead of tech switching right away, I just sent some lasers because I already had my Hand of Nod open. But then I see that they're coming at me with flames, which is definitely not good considering I only had infantry out, so they knew what they were doing. I did open up my War Factory to get my Chuggy, and I don't know why they didn't just stand and shoot, because if you run away, the Chuggy will melt you. Really wish I was Jade because I could do a nice explosion with all those cannon clouds, but, you know, unfortunately was not able to make that first missile, so I decided to back up and reevaluate instead of just keep throwing units after units and losing money on that. So, you know, like up here, send my 10 cost, take out half of the Scarab squad, which is a 20 cost worth. Was able to finally get my stealth tank. And boom, boom, was able to take it out. First time that I had seen an obelisk today, but I'm like, okay, I now have Shade in my deck, which is good against air as well as ground. So send that in, and it cannot be shot at by the obelisk. Unfortunately, they had a stealth tank in their deck, and I was unable to get my Banshee out of the way in time. But their obelisk is just about dead, and thankfully, laser troops and militants is exactly what you need in order to prevent Scarabs and stealth tank. But again, they have those stupid flamers, which makes it a little bit more difficult, but thankfully I was able to hold enough pads to get the second missile. A lot of microing over here. Thankfully, my Chuggy took the hit instead of the stealth tank. Unfortunately, they come back with their obelisk, and kaboom! They start shooting at my laser troops instead of my stealth tanks, which is nice. Move in with both stealth tanks, and I boosted the one on the bottom, and I was able to take out the obelisk while only losing one. Send my juggies, take out those annoying pesky flamers, and use that to get in a few hits on a distracted inferno. And then, come on, do it again. Bada boom. And sadly, their stealth tank took out my Banshee before I was able to finish up that Inferno, but it's fine. Because Inferno can only shoot at the ground, and guess what? I've got a Banshee. Boom. And unfortunately took out my stealth tank. I was a little too greedy on that. Should have just waited. But thankfully, they were not able to get on the second pad in time, and I got that missile. Yay, go me. And the next one is Weez, playing everyone's favorite Solomon, because, you know, ion cannons are awesome, I guess. And this guy decided to jump jet rush me, which is fine, because I have militants. And tried to move the Harvester up one, but right now he's so focused on my Harvester and not on preserving his jump jets that I just keep moving around, and he's like, oh, I can go after it now. Well, no, I have 2 militant squads, and I kind of leave the one on the bottom moving around a little bit just to make sure they didn't try to jump over the rock back onto the left side of the tip patch. But now I was able to move my units onto the pads, send my damaged infantry out to scout. Decided not to stay in that one hex, because if they would have come out with, say, flamers, shocks, or something else that would take it out, then they would have an easy shot. So I moved them, but they come up with an MSV, so obviously they're coming out with some sort of infantry. And sadly here, I was unable to target the Shatterer. Instead, it was the MSV that got shot at. So the Shatterer on the top pad did manage to take out those infantry, but it does nothing to vehicles, which is good because, you know, they're an anti-infantry. But I decided that since they are double harvesters, I figured there's probably tech units coming out soon, so go ahead and boost that stealth tank. I'm sending laser troops to the bottom just in case they have a tank in there or something that might one-shot my stealth tank. So the infantry was kind of a fallback plan. Thankfully, I was able to completely block this one harvester from harvesting at all, which is a massive money sink. And while my units on the bottom are taking care of the harvesters, I sent my militants up top to keep charging the pad. And then their zone troopers come out, and I start running away with my tanks, but it's too little too late because there's the missile. So the easiest way to beat tech is to not give them time to actually do anything with it.